Alright, I am back with another Destiny 2 video. Bungie just wrapped up its live stream about Into the Light. This was the second one out of 3, where they were talking all about rewards this week, meaning the stuff you will be grinding for. And the way they describe it is sort of a greatest hits of Destiny weapons and also one or two other things. This is what you get as a reward for Onslaught, the Horde mode that they talked about last time. Thankfully this aired without some blockbuster IGN article expose about Bungie dropping, which happened literally last week on the same day. No drama so far yet, just a list of 12 reprised weapons that are coming back in some form or another as something that is grindable for this activity. The idea is that they wanted to take sort of, what are the community's all-time favorite, somewhat distant in the past weapons, and how, spaced out among slots, spaced out around different weapon types, and how can they bring those back. We have seen a number of those sort of in preview material, but there are 12 total. I'll just go through them here. Mountaintop, which was the old pinnacle rocket propelled grenade launcher, mini micro missile, you know what I mean. It shoots in a straight line. That is coming back. These have like actual, interchangeable perks now. They're not just a set thing like they used to be, but they have, retained the identity of the weapon, even if it is no longer probably going to be like the best in slot. Like the Mountaintop got nerfed for Crucible, things like that. They have Hung Jury. This is a somewhat controversial one because this will be like the 6th or 7th version of Hung Jury we've had in Destiny history, where they sunset it, they reissue it, they do new perks again, and now they're doing new perks again. But this is probably maybe the dullest weapon on the list just because we've seen it so many times already, so it's a little hard to get excited about it. But I think they just wanted a scout rifle in here. I don't think there's another one, no. And next up we have Blast Furnace, the famed Black Armory weapon, one of 2 that's in here. This is the hard-hitting aggressive pulse rifle, which is kinetic, but they showed off a new perk on this, which can drop on a bunch of things called Last Stand. They said they're changing the name of it, but kills give you a damage bonus, and then melee and grenade kills give you a bigger damage bonus, and it can stack. It's a little like Golden Tricorn, but stackable. I don't think it's that strong, but it's kind of a new perk that they're putting on at least some of these here. There is Midnight Coup, the famous Leviathan hand cannon that is probably one of the top 3 most classic beloved weapons in the game back when we still had fixed rolls, but everybody really liked this thing. Now you can hit crazy things like it has explosive rounds, kinetic tremors, and like stuff like that. There is Elsie's Rifle, which is a modified version of the Stranger's Rifle, which is a legendary version of No Time to Explain, essentially. This is sort of almost from Destiny 1. This was the one that kind of surprised me the most because I would have never predicted that this would actually arrive. It has Desperado on it. We didn't see too much of it in action, but I guess they wanted another Pulse archetype. It's Void. There is Succession, the Deepstone Crypt Sniper. There's a few of these, at least 2 of them, where they are current raid weapons that are not sunset, but they have new perks for this. They have a new origin trait, and they will have different roles than the ones you can get in the raids. You do not have to own the DLC for the raids to get the 2 that are in here. The other one, I'll just skip to it, is... shoot, did I not write it down? Oh no. It's edit. Forbearance. That's what I was talking about. Forbearance, the famous chain reaction waveframe grenade launcher from Vow the Disciple. That is in here too, but you do not need to own Witch Queen for that. That has new roles. There is, what else? Luna's Howl, the Crucible hand cannon returns. Like some of these other weapons, it had to have both its signature trait return, but also they had to nerf it a little bit because it doesn't work in the sandbox. They couldn't have people 2-tapping people with hand cannons, so they nerfed that a little bit. Same thing I think goes for Recluse. Either Recluse got a little nerfed or it's just like power crept at this point, but that is returning, probably in context, probably one of the best weapons in Destiny history, if not the best. There was really nothing that could compare to it in both PvP and PvE at the time. Falling Guillotine, that is one that is not Sunset, but it is a classic sword, probably the most classic sword, legendary sword, just because of how often people continue to use it for, sword boss content whenever you could use a sword. It's getting new things like Eager Edge. It's getting the sword trait from Crota's End. It's getting a few things. Hammerhead is the other Black Armory one. Probably my favorite MG of all time. This is like an example of like, this is sort of just power creep, which cool, I guess, but this is Killing Tally and Rampage on it. So that's something. And then Edge Transit is the final one, a world drop that used to be a meme because there was at one point there was only one legendary heavy drop that was a world drop, so it would be the only one you would ever get. So it was a meme. Now they buffed it to make it actually very strong, apparently. So that should be a little fun. These all come with the ability to potentially get like a shiny version of them as a random drop. I think there's a little mini quest to guarantee one, but you get a special ornament for it. It comes with 4 perk options instead of just 2 perks. So that's like kind of a fun little drop, and that will not be able to drop after the final shape launches. So it's sort of you had to be there cosmetic thing, but this whole thing is going to stick around after the final shape, as we previously said, because it's kind of a new free onboarding activity for players. The new social space they showed off here, given that we saw that the tower is fixed, everyone's like, oh, they're going to bring back the Destiny 1 tower. No, it's not that. It's something called the Hall of Champions, which when I first saw it, it sounded and looked a little bit like the Tribute Hall. But it's sort of just a bunch of chests, which is where you can open ones in the middle to get the new armor set, which is free, but I don't think it looks very good. It's just, I don't know, we have much better sets than this sort of Destiny 2 classic revision one, which at least the Hunter one I saw, I didn't think it looked really good. It's just the armor from the key art. So if you've seen that armor, that's the armor. And then there are these little Shaxx holograms where I guess there's 12 of them, and if you pick them, it will focus, it will drop more of that type of weapon for you. And then the very back, there's Shaxx. You turn in, rep vendor stuff for him. And then there's a giant Venom symbiote blob in the back that is apparently the super black shader, and you can unlock the super black shader as a part of this as well. Yet another classic thing that this seems to be like Bungie's trying to grant all your wishes thing in one event, so people can't complain. Am I going to complain? I feel like Destiny has overly relied on its own nostalgia for such a long time now that seeing this way is like, it's sort of the pinnacle of all that, which I don't know, maybe it'll be fine. Like I'm certainly not going to play it. It's just, I don't know if you can really recapture the magic of, oh, you get this new version of Midnight Coup with kinetic tremors now. Like, I don't think it's the same. And like, I get why people want a lot of these weapons back, but in a lot of these cases, some of these aren't even sunset. You could even still be using them. I don't really see the point of, oh, Forbearance is one of the best mob clearing weapons in history. Like, here's this with like, you can also have this perk and this perk on it now. Like, it's a little strange to me, like the concept of this. And I appreciate what they tried to do with at least the pinnacle ones, where they kept their inherent traits. But I don't know. I feel like this was just okay. And if they're just relying on kind of nostalgia and power creep and bringing some of these, for the second or third time, I don't fully know how I feel about that. I don't think it's really the same thing. Like, you'd want Recluse to return in something like, oh, we're going to have this, remember how hard it was to get in PvP? Like, that's going to be a new competitive PvP reward or something, not just like, I'm going to grind out 60 random rolled Recluses from this Shaxx chest. Like, I think just things sort of lose their magic when they're mass produced and transformed into something they really weren't before. But I can't complain too much about it. I'm sure many of these will be fun to use. I'm guessing a couple of them may end up being best in slot just because of how powerful they wanted to make them. I'm excited to get something like Super Black, and I still think the activity itself looks fun. I have my questions about that too, but for something they sort of like had to do a little last minute ish, Into the Light seems like it's substantive and like will probably be good enough. One really good thing about this is that they do not, you do not have the ability to craft these weapons. They will be enhanceable from some new system Bungie is doing that we haven't heard about yet, where you can get enhanced perks on them or upgrade them or something, but they will not be straight up craftable. So you're not just looking for, 5 Luna's Howl patterns and then you get the God Roll Lunas. I think Bungie is finally coming around to the idea that crafting sucks and crafting ruined a lot of things. So I think we're going to lean more into this sort of enhanceable idea in the future, kind of the best of both worlds. I've said this about crafting forever. I'm not going to say I told you so, but I'm glad to see that these are not craftable. I think that's a great idea. And, as long as there are ways to negate just full RNG, like, focusing on like Shaxx having you focus on a specific one, or like some of them dropping with 4 perks, like things like that is usually going to be a good enough RNG offset for the most part. And then the other advantage crafting weapons have enhanced perks can be negated by this new system too. So here we are. The third stream is apparently there's an exotic quest coming. I think they're going to talk about exotic rotators, which I'm assuming they're slotting back in some of the old ones that were deleted. Whisper probably, that class of those, and I think they said we're getting a new one. I turned the stream off because all they were doing was running lost sectors with these weapons for like 45 minutes. So I'm like, all right, I'm good, I'm out. But I guess they said that at the very end. I think they might be going through Crucible maps or something, the new Crucible maps. And we don't know which 3 Crucible maps this is on yet, I don't think. I assume they're all Last City ones. We know Midtown's one, unless I missed that. And then I think there was like some secret stuff for next week too. So yeah, it's a cool list. It's certainly like a classic list of Destiny weapons, but I'm not sure it's really 100% what I was hoping for something like this. It's a little fan servicey for me. I don't know. I get that there's a lot of nostalgia attached to these weapons. I just don't think it really works when it's a totally new way to get them. They're totally new weapons essentially with perks that are not remotely like what they had. Some of them will have the classic rolls, but they're now outclassed by everything else just because of the nature of the game. So it's a complicated situation. So like I get them wanting to do this, but I also get why it's not maybe as impactful as it might be otherwise. But that's just my take. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.